In this video, we'll cover viewing order history. Let's add a new feature to allow the users to view their previous order history. So this feature will only be available to logged in, authenticated users. And here's a little screenshot. So notice here on the far right, there's a new button here called Orders. The user will click that button, and then it will show them their list of previous orders. Now looking at the front and back end, so we're going to split up the development across multiple videos. We'll start working on the Spring Boot back end, and then we'll come back and work on the Angular front end. Here's the development process for the Spring Boot back end. The first thing that we'll do is we'll create the order repository REST API, and then we'll update the configs to make the order repository REST API read-only. Okay, so here's step one of creating the order repository REST API. So we're going to expose an endpoint to search for orders by the customer's email address. So we'll have this get method and the endpoint of /orders/search/find by customer email, email equals, and we pass in the actual value for that user's email address that we want to search by. And now a bit more here. Remember that Spring Data REST and Spring Data JPA supports query methods. So Spring will actually construct a query based on method naming conventions. In this example here, we have the order repository. So we have this method find by customer email, and we pass in a param email. And as a quick refresher here, here's our database diagram that we were working on. So we have the orders table. And then for a given order, it's associated with a given customer. And so we'll search for orders based on the customer's email address. And then as another refresher, the class diagram for our JPA entity classes. So we have the order class, and then notice here at the bottom, there's a customer entry. So the order is associated with the given customer. So again, we'll use this JPA entity to search for orders based on the customer's email address. Now moving ahead here, so a bit more details on this order repository. So we have the find by customer email and the param. And so remember, Spring's going to do the work behind the scenes. So Spring will actually execute a query similar to this. So we'll have a select star from orders, do a left outer join on customer, on orders.customer_ID equals customer.ID, where customer.email equals the email. So email is going to be the param that's passed into this actual method, and it'll actually be passed in via the REST API. Remember, the nice thing about all this Spring magic, we simply write the method name, and then Spring will actually generate the query based on the given method name. So more of that Spring magic for you. And then looking at the REST endpoint, so Spring Data REST will actually expose an endpoint here, find by customer email, and then you pass in the parameter for email. And here we simply pass data to the REST API, in this case, demo@lovetocode.com. And then also as another refresher, notice here we have page and pageable. So that's for pagination support. So in the event that we had 100 orders or 500 orders, we could have pagination support. So this functionality is built into the API, and we can have support for it in the future if we'd like to use it. Okay, so that covers that piece of it. Now step two of updating the configs to make the order repository REST API read-only. So we've done a lot of this work before. We're simply going to add one new line here in our configuration to disable the methods for the order.class. And everything else here works out the same. So we're A-OK. Alrighty, so this coding looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and move into the next videos and let's start writing some code.